Hello friends, welcome to Storytime. It is our last Storytime of Summer Reading Club. It is hard to believe that we've already had 10 weeks of Summer Reading Club. I hope you guys have enjoyed the Summer Reading Club, even though it was a little different this year. We still had lots of programs that you could watch at your house, and we had some fun crafts that you could do once we opened up, and of course lots and lots of reading time. So I hope that you had a great time doing that. And if you did, you still have a few more days to finish it up. So you have through Saturday to earn your badges and get your finisher prizes. So hopefully you'll be able to get those, and then you can come in with your email. You'll get an email when you earn all your badges that you need to get your finisher prize. It'll give you a congratulations email. And then you can come in next week and get your prizes. All right, well, but we still have one more story time before this will be our last one for the summer, and then we're working on our fall programming, so we'll let you know. Keep an eye on our Facebook page and on our website to see what we have in store for the fall, okay? Everything's still kind of being worked out here, but let's get started with our good morning song. Are you ready? And let me find my koala friend. In case you didn't notice, I'm in a different spot, aren't I? This doesn't look like the story room, does it? Well, we had a little problem. If you've been by the library recently, you may have noticed all the construction trucks out front. So they're doing a lot of work on our building and in the alley next to our building. So it was kind of loud in the story room when I went to film. So I moved into another room in the library. So we'll try a story time in here. But I do have my friend Koala here to say hello. And she has the shaker. Are you ready to sing our good morning song? Let's do it. Clap everybody and say hello. Clap everybody and say hello. Clap everybody and say hello. Hello everybody. Can you stomp? How loud can you stomp? Stomp everybody and say hello. Stomp everybody and say hello. Stomp everybody and say hello. Hello everybody. Very good. And how about, can you tap? Can you tap your nose? Very gentle. Tap everybody and say hello. Tap everybody and say hello. Tap everybody and say hello. Hello everybody. And last but not least, we're gonna wave. Wave everybody and say hello. Wave everybody and say hello. Wave everybody and say hello. Hello everybody. Yay! Wonderful. And now I have something fun to show you. Since this is our last story time for the summer, I finished my book. We are not going to have a page today, and you'll find out why. But I brought in my Storytime book from our different fairy tales that I've read over the summer. And I'm missing one. I can't find my Tacky page. I think Tacky went off in that Hawaiian shirt on a vacation somewhere. But I have the other ones, and I wanted to share my story with you. It's called Once Upon a Time, Mrs. Russell Imagined a Story. Let's see. So who's the author then? Who wrote this? Mrs. Russell. And I'm kind of the illustrator too. I didn't actually draw the pictures, but I made the pictures with photographs. So remember our first story about Goldilocks and the Three Bears? Goldilocks came into my house and she played my piano. There's Mrs. Russell when she was little with my piano. Uh-oh. Then Little Red Riding Hood came into my house and said, Mrs. Russell, what long bangs you have. Okay, they're looking better now, aren't they? Might need a trim soon too, but remember during quarantine, Mrs. Russell had really long hair and really long bangs. And Little Red Riding Hood Not what big teeth, but what long bangs. Oh, and then remember Sheep in the Jeep? We talked about the rhyming words then, so I found a few rhyming words. The sheep took a leap and landed in a heap. The sheep in the Jeep. In the deep. Then, remember the book about tops and bottoms? That sneaky Mr. Hare and the bear? And Mr. Bear didn't want to do any work. Mr. Hare came up with a great idea to trick Mr. Bear. Mr. Hare came to my garden and planted my favorite vegetable. And my favorite vegetable is sweet corn. I love corn on the cob. Oh, and then we also read the story about the little red hen. And do you remember what the little red hen made in our fractured fairy tale? In our fairy tale that somebody took and made a little bit different? Remember then they made a pizza. What did your little red hen make in your storybook? Mine made a birthday cake. The little red hen made a birthday cake at my house and I helped. That was the week it was my daughter's birthday, so we did have birthday cake at my house that week. Oh, here we go. Remember the three billy goats gruff? There's the troll, and do you remember what that troll is from? That's from Mrs. Russell's college. He's the mascot of my college, the Trinity Trolls. The troll said, "Who's that trip-trapping over my bridge?" And look who was coming over the bridge. It's Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too. And the last page in my storybook, remember the story about the dragon? The dragon and I became friends. We love to go swimming together. That was from the Dragon and the Nibblesome Knight. All right, well, I would love to see your storybook. Did you write a storybook this summer? I would love to see it sometime if you come into the library. Maybe you can bring it with and show me. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. Let's check our treasure chest and see what's in there. Okay. Here's a yardstick. Okay. Oh my. Whose head is this? It's a snake. It's a really long snake, isn't it? Huh. And look who this is. What kind of animal is this? Look at that big head. Who's that? It's a shark. Whoa. Then we have a measuring tape. Whoa. What does that have to do with the animals? This is confusing. And look it, we have a little deer. But it's not so little, is it? It's a pretty big deer. Maybe about the size of a real baby deer, huh? Look how big it is. Interesting. I wonder, does that help you get an idea of what our story is? I don't know. I think we're going to have to look. Our story today is actual size. That doesn't sound like a fairy tale, does it? It's not. For our last story time of the summer, I decided to do a story that wasn't imagined, because all of us have our own stories that are real stories too. right? You're living your story, aren't you? It's fun to imagine a story and make something up that might happen, but it might not too. So sometimes it's fun to just write about what's really happening in your life right now. Not imagining, not pretending, not making it up, but what's really happening. You might write about a vacation that you took, or when you went to sleep over at your grandpa and grandma's, or what you did during quarantine. Well, so I picked a book, not from our picture book section. You can see this book has numbers on the side. That means it's a nonfiction book. And if you don't know what nonfiction is, we have two sections in the library. There are fiction books and nonfiction books. And nonfiction books are books that are true, or they have facts in them. Fiction books are made up stories. They're things that might have happened. They could happen, but the author just made it up. And sometimes they're not things that could even happen. It just came out of the author's imagination. So this book is not one of those. This is a nonfiction book. It has some facts in it. Actual Size by Steve Jenkins. And I can't wait to share it with you. I love this book. And then he has some other wonderful nonfiction books. So we're also going to read What Do You Do with a Tale Like This? And do you see the award sticker on that one? That one won an award. It won a Caldecott Honor Award. That means it was one of the best top 5 or so books for the illustrations that year. So let's see when this book was published. 2009. Oh, 2003, excuse me. 2003. This edition was from 2009. But Steve Jenkins made it in 2003. And this is by Steve Jenkins and Robin Page. So let's read through our nonfiction books. Our books that are not imagined, but they are actual real books about real information about animals. Do you see some animals on here? I see a little guy. I don't know what he is. Do you? I hope we find out in our story. And then whose hand is that? That's bigger than Mrs. Russell's hand, isn't it? Whose hand is that? I wonder. I have a guess. Do you? It looks kind of familiar. We'll see if we're right. Actual Size by Steve Jenkins. And look at that tiny little thing. What is that? Ooh, this is a pygmy shrew. And he's only 2 inches long. Let's look at our, wow, look at on our measuring stick. 2 inches would put it right there in between Mrs. Russell's fingers here, starting here to here. Whoa, that is a tiny animal, isn't it? Ooh, look at that beautiful moth. Do you see that? Look at that. Did you ever look a giant squid in the eye? Have you ever shaken hands with a gorilla or been face to face with a tiger? All of the animals in this book are shown at actual size, so you can see how you measure up to creatures both large and small. This Atlas moth is so big, it says, that sometimes people think it's actually a bird. And its wingspan is 12 inches. Do you know what a wingspan is? If you hold out your wings, or for us, your arms, that's your wingspan. So this moth, its wingspan is 12 inches from one side to the other. That's a whole foot. That's a big moth, isn't it? Think about the butterflies or the moths that you've seen in your yard. Are they that big? Mm-mm. Uh-oh. And then, can you even see this little guy? Look at the big moth. And look at this. What do you think that might be? You know what it is? It's actually a little tiny fish. The dwarf goby is the smallest of all fish. And it is only 1/3 of an inch. It isn't even a whole inch. It goes from here to here. That's as big as it is. Wow, that's a tiny little guy, isn't it? Look at that. The giant squid lives deep in the ocean where its enormous eyes help it see in the dim light. So its body and tentacles are up to 59 feet long. Wow. Thinking about boys and girls, a lot of moms and dads are either 5 or 6 feet tall. This is 59 feet long. And its eye is 12 inches across. Look at that. 12 inches. What do you think? Is its eye bigger than mine? Oh, yeah. Look at that head. Who's got the bigger head? What do you think? The Alaskan brown bear is the largest meat-eating animal that lives on land. It is 13 feet high. And again, remember I said moms and dads are oftentimes between 5 and 6 feet tall. And this one is 13. It's twice the size of your daddy, I bet. And it weighs 1,700 pounds. Wow. Aw, what is this bird? It's an ostrich. Here is the largest bird, an ostrich, with its egg. And the ostriches have huge eggs. Are your eggs that you eat at home this big? No, they probably are only about this big, aren't they? My goodness, look at that huge egg. And this bird is up to 9 feet tall and weighs 340 pounds. Oh my goodness, look at that. Do you see that big long tongue? A 2-foot long tongue. This must be a giant anteater snacking on its favorite food, termites. Wow, look at that tongue. Do you think my tongue is 2 feet long? No. It's probably not even hardly 2 inches. Maybe it's 2 inches, but not 2 feet. Let's see how long 2 feet is. So here we start at 1 inch. So here's 1 foot long. That's 12 inches. Let's find 24 inches. Look at that. Wow. Can you imagine your tongue being that long? Whoa. It's got lots of room for termites, doesn't it? Look at that. Oh my goodness. What is this? That's an awfully big spider. Look, it's almost as big as my head. It might be. Wow. The Goliath bird-eater tarantula is big enough to catch and eat small birds and mammals. Wow. And its legs are 12 inches across. Whew. Whoa. I wouldn't want to come across this. What is this? This is a saltwater crocodile. The world's largest reptile is a man-eater. It's 23 feet long. Whoa. But that's not all. I didn't even open it up all the way. I don't even know if it's going to get in the whole screen. There we go. I'm going to have to pull it back a little bit. Look at how long his head is. pages long. Whew. Well, then I guess I better turn the page because guess what's on the next page? Oh my goodness. Look. Look at that big frog. It's so big you can't even see its feet. It won't even fit on all 3 pages when it has its feet outspread. Look at that. This is the Goliath frog, and it lives in Africa. It's big enough to catch birds and even rats. Wow. It is 36 inches long. That's 3 feet. Now we saw 2 feet. We measured it out on the yardstick. But 3 feet is this whole yardstick. And I can't even show you. Let's see. I'll have to back it up so you can see the whole yardstick. But look at that. Wow. The funny part is, it only weighs 7 pounds. That was how big my baby was when he was born, was 7 pounds. Oh my. Look at those teeth. Whose teeth do you think they are? Do they look kind of similar to this guy's teeth? These are the teeth of a great white shark. It says this is too close to a great white shark. Great white sharks can be 21 feet long, weigh 6,000 pounds, and their teeth are 4 inches long. Boys and girls, 4 inches. Look at that. That's really long. Let's see. Is my tooth 4 inches? No, not even close. How long are your teeth? Are they 4 inches? No. There's that hand again. Did you figure out whose hand it was? And there's that little animal too. Let's find out what those are. This huge gorilla and the pygmy mouse lemur both have hands a lot like ours. So that hand does look like a human hand, doesn't it? And can you see that lemur's hand? It looks like ours too. It has a thumb and 4 fingers. This gorilla is 5.5 feet tall. Well, guess what? Mrs. Russell is 5.5 feet tall. I'm 5 feet 6 inches. So that gorilla is as tall as me when I stand up. I wouldn't want to have to meet a gorilla in the wild that's as big as I am. Whew, that'd be kind of scary. But this little mouse lemur is only 2.5 inches tall. He's only this tall, from here to here. That's a big difference, isn't it? Look whose face is next. Ooh, the Siberian tiger is the biggest of all cats. He's got a bigger face than I do, doesn't he? Length 14 feet from his nose to his tail, and he weighs 500 to 700 pounds. 500 to 700. Whew, wow. Oh my goodness. The Goliath beetle. Have you noticed we've had a lot of animals that were called the Goliath something or other? Have you ever heard that name before? Goliath. In the Bible, Goliath was a giant. So I wonder if that may be why they're calling them the Goliath things. Because Goliath was huge, and so are these things. This is a big beetle. Have you ever seen a beetle that's almost as big as Mrs. Russell's face in your yard? I hope not. It is the world's heaviest insect. It is 6 inches long and 3.5 ounces. This rare giant walking stick is the world's longest insect at 22 inches. It's almost 2 feet long. Oh, whose foot is this? This foot belongs to the largest land animal, the African elephant. They can be up to 13 feet tall and weigh as much as 14,000 pounds. Whoa. And then in the back of this book, it gives us more information about all these different animals that we learned about. And at the very end, what is that? It's a worm. The giant Gippsland earthworm lives in Australia, and guess how long it can be? 36 inches long. Do you remember? Our yardstick is 36 inches long, and I had to go way back from the camera for you to see the whole thing of it. Wow, that is one long earthworm, isn't it? Let's see. Do you think we can figure out Mrs. Russell's wingspan? No, not quite. I'd have to have somebody help me. Remember we talked about the wingspan? It's over 3 feet, isn't it? All right, and our last story, what do you do with a tail like this? And remember, take a peek at the illustrations. Make sure you're looking at those because they won an award. By Steve Jenkins and Robin Page. Animals use their noses, ears, tails, eyes, mouths, and feet in very different ways. See if you can guess which animal each part belongs to and how it is used. At the back of this book, you can find out more about these animals. What do you think that is? Let's see. Ooh, what do you do with a nose like this? Can you tell whose noses these are? Whose nose? How about this one? And this one? How about this one? What about this one? I can tell for sure a couple of them, but there's a few I'm kind of confused about. Let's turn the page and see if we find out. Aha! If you're a platypus, you use your nose to dig in the mud. If you're a hyena, you will find your next meal with your nose. Can you sniff? Do you smell anything? Do you smell your next meal? Is Mommy making lunch? Or Daddy making lunch? Or are you making lunch? What you having for lunch? I wonder what the hyena's going to have for lunch. If you're an elephant, you use your nose to give yourself a bath. If you're an alligator, you breathe through your nose while hiding in the water. Okay, this was the one I was really confused about. Do you see this one? If you're a mole, you'll use your nose to find your way underground. Wow. What do you use your nose for? Aha. What do you do with ears like these? Wait a minute, that doesn't look like ears. That looks like ears. That looks like an ear. There's some ears. I don't know about these two. I don't see the ears. Do you? Can you tell whose ears they are? Okay, so those two that were sticking up, that was from a bat. If you're a bat, you see with your ears. Okay, so those were actually the ones hanging down. You'll see with your ears. If you're a jackrabbit, you use your ears to keep you cool. If you're a cricket, you hear with ears that are on your knees. So that's why they showed us a leg, not something that looked like an ear. If you're a hippopotamus, you close your ears when you're underwater. I wonder how they close their ears. And if you're a humpback whale, you hear sounds hundreds of miles away. Wow. What do you do with a tail like this? Can you tell whose tails these are? I wonder. Oh, there's a giraffe. If you're a giraffe, you brush off pesky flies with your tail. If you're a lizard, you break off your tail to get away. Oh my goodness. Who's that? If you're a skunk, let me read it. Look, it's even acting like it's squirting If you're a skunk, you lift your tail to warn that a stinky spray is on the way. Ooh, if you're a scorpion, your tail can give a nasty sting. If you're a monkey, you hang from a tree by your tail. Ooh, what do you do with eyes like this? What do your eyes do? Let's see what these eyes do. If you're an eagle, you spot tiny animals from high in the air. If you're a chameleon, you look 2 ways at once. Can you look 2 ways at once? I can't really. If I'm looking this way, I can't see this way. If you're a 4-eyed fish, you look above the water and below the water at the same time. Can you see those eyes? Look, above and below. Ew. If you're a horned lizard, you squirt blood out of your eyes. Ew. If you're a bush baby, you use your large eyes to see clearly at night. Look at that, the big eyes on that little creature. Ooh, what do you do with feet like these? Whose feet do you think those are? What do your feet do? If you're a chimpanzee, you feed yourself with your feet. Look, he's got his food right in his foot. If you're a water strider, you can walk right on top of the water with your feet. If you're a blue-footed booby bird, you do a dance with your blue feet. If you're a gecko, you use your sticky feet to walk on the ceiling or on branches probably too. And how about this guy? What do you think he does with his feet? If you're a mountain goat, you leap from ledge to ledge. What do you do with a mouth like these? Whose mouths are those? Look at this big long mouth, huh? If you're a pelican, you use your mouth just like a net to scoop up fish. If you're a mosquito, you use your mouth to suck blood. Ew. If you're an egg-eating snake, you use your mouth to swallow eggs that are bigger than your head. Wow. If you are an anteater, you capture termites with your long tongue. Do you remember that tongue? We saw that in the other book. Do you remember how long it was? I think it was 2 feet long. And we saw the termites on that tongue, didn't we? If you're an archer fish, you catch insects by shooting them down with a stream of water. Instead of shooting arrows, this archer fish, an archer is someone that shoots bows and arrows. But this archer fish doesn't shoot arrows, he shoots water and knocks that bug right into the ocean so that he can eat them. And then there's more information in the back of this book about all of our animals too. Look at all of those. So these are really fun books, boys and girls. If you are interested in animals and how animals are made, what the different body styles are, and what all their parts do for them, you may want to check those out. A lot of them are in the 591 section. This is 591.93, or excuse me, 53. What do you do with a tail like this? And then let's see what number is actual size. This is 591.41. And then both of them are Jen, because Jenkins is the author of both of these books. So you can look for books like this and more books that tell you true stories and give you facts about an animal's real life in the library too. And so today I don't have a page for our book, like I said. And I can't put this page on our website or on our YouTube because it's an extra big piece of paper. But I do have some here by the grab and go bags. So if you are interested, the next time you're at the library, you can get one of these pages to go along with our story time. And on the front side it says, today we read Actual Size by Steve Jenkins. And then here's some things for you to fill in. My actual size is blank feet and blank inches. And so for Mrs. Russell, that would be 5 feet, 6 inches. And then there's a spot for you to put in your weight, how many pounds you are. And then it says, I can jump blank feet and blank inches. How far can you jump? And then my wingspan is blank feet, blank inches, so that you can fill that in. And remember, wingspan is when you hold your arms out from side to side, how much does that measure? How far, how long is that? And then there's that gorilla hand. And then I want you to trace your hand, or have mom or dad trace your hand and see how much bigger that gorilla hand is. Look, there's Mrs. Russell's hand. I can't get anywhere close to filling that out. And I have pretty big hands. And then do you remember what this is? This is the great white shark's tooth. And that's the actual size. Do you remember? I think that was a 4-inch tooth. Yeah, not quite. Same as Mrs. Russell. I have shorter teeth. Hopefully you do too. And then on the back side, do you remember what this was? This was the Atlas moth, and that's actual size. And then it says, can you find the snake heads? Now, I think that part was in the part of the book that we didn't read, where it gives more information about the animals. Do you see something that looks maybe like snake heads? See if you can find it. I see, look it. If you cover up the rest of this, it does kind of look like a snake, doesn't it? With an eye, and on both sides. And do you know why that is? That's called camouflage. And this moth has that, so it makes it look scarier. And if a predator, if something that is trying to eat it sees that, they might get scared away because they're going to think it's a snake, and the snake might eat it. So then that predator won't eat the moth. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So boys and girls, I hope that you had a lot of fun learning all sorts of new things, reading some new stories, imagining your own stories, and just had a lot of fun with stories this summer. And I can't wait to start up again in the fall. We'll see what kinds of things we'll be doing in the fall. And I can't wait to see you in the library sometime too. Make sure you stop in and say hello the next time you can. And for our Beanstat code, because remember, you still have a few more days, you can type in the end all together. And that will get you some credit towards your virtual visitor badge. So I hope you have had as good a time as I did today reading our nonfiction story. Remember, that means it's true. Our nonfiction stories. And next time you're in the library, make sure you check out our nonfiction section too. And the librarian at the desk there can help you find some good books. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we will see you soon at the library. Bye-bye, friends.